Hey, welcome back here to the Central PA Pour and La Afarai Padre Sonadif. And I am Brett.
I'm Ben.
And I'm Kevin.
And we are the CPP crew, and minus Dave today. But we also have another guest with us here, and we're very happy to have him here. He's been one of the ones I've been trying to lock down, and we finally got him here, so I'm going to let him introduce himself to us.
All right. Thank you so much, gentlemen. So my name is Glenn Smith. I'm the founder of Brewery Tours. We operate as the York County Ale Trail as well as the Hanover Brewery Tours. So we provide guided, educational, exclusive craft beer experiences.
Well, that's great, Glenn. I know we can relate to this because Kevin and I did one of them, and it's fun to do. So welcome. We are glad you're here. You're one of the first people I've kind of contacted about this idea I had in my head. So we're glad to have you. I'm finally glad to get you down here. So welcome to the Essex Home Brew Works Brew Room. This is our new recording location and drinking room and soon to be brewing room. So we're welcome here to our home. And happy St. Patrick's Day. This is our episode number 7, our St. Patrick's Day celebration. And I pardon my Irish and Gaelic, but it probably was not very good when I said that. So I said it so many times in my head, I know I screwed it up. So Ben, where can they find us?
We are at Central PA Pour on all social media, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, at centralpapour@gmail.com. And on all of our social media bios, you will find our link tree, which has just been updated with our latest YouTube video. So you can find that video embedded right into the link tree, as well as all of our social platforms and a guest form as well. So if you're interested in joining us, whether to promote something or just hang out with the boys and drink some beer, check us out, submit that guest form.
That's what this is all about, man, drinking some beer. So Glenn, speaking of finding you, where can they find Brewery Tours?
Everywhere.
So
website, if you go on the World Wide Web, we are ultimatecraftbeerexperience.com. We are also on Facebook, Instagram. I believe we're on Twitter, although I'll be honest with you, we don't do a whole hell of a lot with Twitter. Sure. And surprisingly enough, we're on LinkedIn as well. So you can find us under Brewery Tours or Ultimate Craft Beer Experience.
Yeah, make sure you look up Glenn and Brewery Tours. It is definitely a worthwhile if you want to get some education behind the individual breweries and beer itself and actually the history of the area.
Yeah.
Look them up. It is definitely phenomenal. Kevin and I did this, and it was a great time. So take a look. Like them, follow them, and by all means, book a tour.
Yeah, how many months later we're still talking about, well, I didn't know that about York. Or
I've lived here all my life and didn't know what you told me that night about York. I'm like, shit, I've lived here all my life. How'd you know that?
Yes.
So,
relaxful. It was a good time. Every stop we made, peaceful, good people, the bartending staff, everything was good.
Excellent. I'm very happy to hear
that. We're not saying that. I mean, it was truly good-hearted entertainment, fun, education.
We exchanged no money before this program today, right?
No,
I'll cash it later.
I'll give you the Benny back in.
No, seriously, it was a good time. It really was.
So like I said, Dave is not with us today, unfortunately. He decided to take his wife for their anniversary this weekend. So we'll definitely have to make sure we toast them. I think he said it was their 45th. So one of our beers, we're going to have to make it a toast to Dave. So we definitely will miss him, but the show must go on. So you got 3 of the CPP crew here. So there's been a lot of things going on in March. We just had some snow. You had some tours booked yesterday, you said, and the weather kind of played its part into it.
We did. Yesterday was supposed to be a very busy day. We had a walking tour. We had our brew bus going. We also had a virtual craft beer experience happening, and unfortunately, the walking tour and bus tours were both rescheduled because, we had a blizzard. Was that?
Yeah.
I think we've had the most snow we've had all winter, and we're supposed to be getting into spring.
It was quite amazing because we had a birthday party charter on the bus, So we had to delay that party, and I could only imagine what a walking tour would have looked like in that country.
my.
Cold.
That would have been awful.
Where's the warm place and more beer to warm me up? So.
We're just going to stay at one brewery. We're not leaving. Just hunker down. We're fine here.
Tell us how the virtual tours work, Glenn. What's that all about?
So the virtual tours, so this goes back to the beginning of COVID, right? So at that point, we had all of our in-person tours canceled. We couldn't do anything.
Right.
And, I'm sitting at home and I'm like, maybe this is the end. We went as far as we can because nobody saw the end at that point, right? And everybody's like, wow, this is just terrible. And in just kind of sitting at home, scratching my head, the thought came is, how can we bring our tour to you if you can't come to us? And that began the whole conversation of coming up with this virtual craft beer experience. So the experience itself is guests get a gift box.
Mm-hmm.
The gift box has 4 beers inside of it, one of our tasting glasses, our tasting notes, and some suggested food pairings. And we just had it last night with another group, which was, I congratulated them. They were the only ones that were actually able to have a tour in the middle of the blizzard. So they zoom in with us, with our beer guides, and we do the exact same thing we do in person. So, my preference is to do it in person,
Right.
Because that's a lot more fun. It's a lot more, we're more involved. We can do a lot more stuff, but at the same time, we're able to bring a significant portion of what we do to you via your computer.
Yeah.
And we go through the different beers that we're tasting that particular day. We throw in some of the history, a lot of the education, and quite frankly, it's a really fun experience. And we've had people all over the country doing this, so it's kind of neat. We've had family reunions, so people from California, Pennsylvania, Michigan, everybody's getting together and able to have an experience where we weren't able to get together at that time. But even now, with businesses, whether it's employee appreciation events, customer appreciation events, or people just want to get together with friends around the country, it's become a really interesting option for our experience.
It sounds like it's pretty good because now you're not only doing just this local area, now you've broadened this area's spectrum.
That's absolutely correct. Yeah. So when I created this company, the idea was I wanted to make this a tourism and economic driver. I saw what was happening here in York County. The breweries started populating one after the other, and I'm like, this is a draw for York County. We need to be paying attention to what's happening in our craft beer industry here. And our focus was just not to have locals experience it, which we certainly want that to happen, but we want to tell the rest of the country, this is what's happening in York County, this is special.
Yeah.
You need to come here and you need to experience it.
We need to make it a destination.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So what drove you into this? Because I know your background, you are an attorney,
That's right.
but what brought you to this craft beer?
Well, first of all, it has nothing to do with the fact that being a lawyer makes you want to drink. There goes my chance of running for judge. All right, so this actually predates my arrival in York, and I guess I'm kind of outing myself here. So I'm not born and raised in York County, so please don't hold that against me. I came here in 2001. I grew up in a place called Easton, Pennsylvania. And what was interesting is in Easton back in the mid 80s, downtown Easton was not a nice place to go to. You only went there really just because you were looking to get into trouble or you wanted to do something else. And then something happened in Easton which changed everything. If you go to Easton today, it's a vibrant, busy, wonderful place to go to. And what happened was there was the best known manufacturer in the Easton area bought a building. And I know you know the answer to this one because you and I already had this conversation. So, trivia question, who is that?
My first guess would be baseball bats.
Okay, well, that's actually Easton, Maryland.
Oh,
a lot of people get,
wow, really?
A lot of people get confused about that.
I did know that, but I don't know the.
I didn't know that.
So
Okay.
it's Crayola crayons.
Oh, okay.
Crayola is actually out of Forks Township, which is just outside of the city of Easton. So Crayola wound up buying a building right on the square, and they built what's the Crayola Crayon Museum.
Okay.
which is a really cool place. So if you don't have young children, or if you don't have young grandchildren, borrow somebody's, because it's kind of creepy if you go there without them. But what happened is after that came in, then all of a sudden restaurants and stores and breweries and art galleries and all these things started proliferating all around it, and now Easton is
Revitalized it.
absolutely. So when I came to York, I was working in the district attorney's office downtown, and I'm like, this isn't a nice place. And I'm like, here we go again.
Yeah.
This is replaying in my life, and I'm like, there's got to be somebody who's the Crayon. There's got to be a Crayon here in York. And I remember I actually met with the folks at Harley Davidson, because I'm like, they got to be the Crayon, and they weren't interested in doing that. No. And so I kept looking around, and I'm like, who the heck is it? Who's it going to be? And fast forward to 2006, 7, something like that. The revitalization effort started happening. I was very involved in that from the legal side of things. And as we know, one of the things that came out of that was the revitalization of the craft beer industry. We hadn't had a brewery since the 1940s.
Right.
And then Mudhook showed up. And then Liquid Hero. And then Crystal Ball. And one after the other after the other. I'm like, that's it. That's the hook. That's who it is. And I would talk to anybody that would listen to me. I'm like, man, have you seen what's happening around here with the craft beer industry? This is amazing. This is really awesome. And I did it for a couple of years until Chrissy, my better half, love you, baby.
Make sure you get that in.
Absolutely. Because she's home. And she eventually said, would you either shut the hell up or do something about it? And I was like, I guess I'll do something about it.
So there we go.
Then here we are.
and I tell you what, Center City, I've been here all my life. It was not, when I grew up, that was the place you hung out with. You did the circuit loop. But you didn't want to go outside that main first block. But that whole area now is still, it's been revitalized. It's inviting. There are plenty of places to go down there. There's plenty of food, plenty of beer.
Plenty of parking.
It's
a major misconception.
Yeah, try and find parking on any given night without going to the parking garage. But it is definitely, and so Glenn, that's phenomenal how you were part of that to bring that back in. So kudos. Kudos to you.
Cheers.
And I know it took a whole team effort to do that, and I'm glad. And I think they are still promoting Downtown York Inc. is one of them. So it's definitely, and I'm hoping like a lot of these other areas get that same idea to revitalize their center cities and make it a destination, make it something vital to people to come and see.
You're seeing a very similar thing happening in Hanover right now.
Yes, exactly.
As well. And what's nice is one of the crucial pieces of that is the Hanover craft beer scene.
Mm-hmm.
So they understand
that. Yeah, absolutely.
There's a lot going on up there. I mean, like you said, they're constantly popping up. So this is our St. Patrick's Day celebration, and we are going to be featuring nothing but Irish beers. So I think we're all about ready to tap into one.
Let's talk about some Beer Madness first.
Go ahead.
So it goes to the end of the month, and you can visit the Brewers and the PA site to get your vote in, and just like the basketball tournaments going on. We're talking beer.
Yeah, and I think they're in the, as of yesterday, they were into the Sweet 16.
Yep.
I didn't look today to see where, I knew there was a bunch of them. Poor Man's was on there, Foursquare. There was a bunch of Central PA people that made it to the Sweet 16. We're hoping they can make it a little further.
Yeah.
We asked Brooks at our last recording. He wasn't invited to that, but they had a certain stipulation. But I talked to Chad from Breweries in PA, and we're going to have them on as a guest here sometime in the near future too. So they're pretty busy with all this going on. Beer Thrillers has theirs tournament going on, so it's kind of cool that there's all this stuff, and it's kind of promoting all the individual breweries out there.
Yep. Get out and vote for your favorite breweries. Give that support, and drink some good beer. What do we got, Dad?
So our first one is Mudhook Brewing Company, out of York, and it's a red Irish red ale, and we have a 5.5 ABV and a 20 IBU.
All right, so we've all come up with different coloring. So we are using an SRM scale for the color chart, So what we're doing here is we try and rate by color, aroma, taste, and everything. It'll be just kind of we use Untapped, so give us a follow on Untapped. Again, it's just our personal log. Might not be what you guys rated, but this is what we rated.
The Untapped had 2,330 ratings with an average of 3.44. So let's see what we get here.
Yeah, on the color scale, I'm about a 19 or 20.
I'm a 17. But
So
Multi aroma for sure.
it is definitely malty.
It smells beautiful.
So Glenn, Kevin and I went in there last week.
Yeah.
Picked this
Yeah.
up. Talked to Jeff. And by the way, this is on your tab. He said you're buying this one.
He did.
Thank you, Jeff.
He actually did.
So he's a great guy. And like you had said, Mudhook was he was the first one in York.
They were the first one back in York. It's from you guys had mentioned earlier about about the history that we like to talk about on the tours. Beer's my number one passion. History is just a stage under that. And we had, at one time, 5 breweries in York City. This is going back pre-Prohibition.
Okay.
And then 2 of them survived Prohibition, and they both folded back in the late 1940s.
That's before my time.
A little bit before ours,
Just
but
a little
maybe
bit.
Dave.
Yeah. But yeah, Mudhook is the first one to return to York City, and that was in 2011. They opened their doors over at Central Market.
Yeah. So very good guy. We talked to him about what we're doing, and we're definitely going to pursue him to be a guest as well.
Had a great evening the other night.
Yeah. Actually, this is very good.
This is real good.
Malty. Good characteristic.
Yeah, this is what you want in an Irish red. It's malt forward.
Yep.
There's really very little sweetness about it.
Yeah, it's very good. It's a very drinkable beer.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to go high. I'm going to go 4. I like a good red ale. A little dry on the back end, a little biscuity, malty in it.
Mm-hmm.
It's just a good drinking beer. Where are you guys at?
I was even going to go a little bit higher in 4 1/4 myself. I agree with everything you said. It's multi-flavored going down, and as we're talking now, it's good. It's really good.
Very, very well done. So that's very good.
Yeah, I'm right there with you guys. You covered all the bases. Follow us on Untapped, see what we got to say about this stuff. But go out and support Mudhook too. Grab a cold one from them.
Yeah, they don't get a whole lot of recognition. They're kind of behind Central Market there, so
They do. They're kind of hidden a little bit. You got to know where they're at, unfortunately.
we could call them York's hidden treasure.
There we go.
Perfect.
So what are you thinking of that? You like it?
Yeah, this is actually when you go on the walking tours. Mudhook is frequently one of our brewery partners on the walking tours because we've got 5 breweries in New York City, all within a 1 square mile radius,
Right.
which is one of the tightest concentrations of breweries anywhere in the country. So York City is really special in that regards, and Mudhook being one of them. This particular beer is often one of the options that we have on our flights.
It's been a staple. I don't go in there regularly, but I think it's always been on their menu.
Yeah, you basically, there's 2 different types of brewers out there. Brewers that are constantly putting out new styles of beer, and other ones that kind of have their normal lineup. And Mudhook's one of those that has a normal lineup. So yeah, every once in a while they'll throw something new out there, but they've been brewing the same stuff over and over again, which is a nice thing from a consistency standpoint,
Right.
as well. And this is one of them. So I've had the pleasure of enjoying this beer
I know
quite a few times.
I know the Deep Sea Stout. I like that one too.
Yeah.
That was a very good one.
Yeah.
So yeah, get out there, look Mudhook up, try their Red Irish. I thought it was very good. So Glenn, we talked about your different tours, and before we sat down here, we were talking about the ales and the rails, and you got one coming up here next week.
Right,
Which,
March 19th.
yes, I booked my ticket, so I'll be on that. So tell us a little bit about this ales and the rails that you got coming up.
Yeah,
What's it about?
So this kind of ties into what I mentioned before, that we really created this company to be a tourism and economic driver. We want to bring people to York County to understand and experience the York handicraft beer scene. So what that does is that opens up conversations to have collaborations with other attractions in the area. And one of those is the Northern Central Railway. Some people may remember them as being steam into history down in the New Freedom area. So we wound up having a conversation a number of months ago, as any good conversation does, over a beer, right? Because what do they say? No good story ever starts with first I had a salad or something like that.
No.
So we started talking and go, what do you think about maybe we try to do something together? And I'm like, well, what does that look like? And what it was is basically doing our experiences with our beers, but doing it on a train. And I'm like, all right, let's give it a try. Let's see what happens. And we did our first one at the end of October, and it was well received. I think we maybe had about 65 people that showed up on that one. So we got back together, kind of did a post-op, and they're like, you want to do another one? I'm like, sure. let's do another one. So we did another one in January. And that one was more geared towards winter-style beers. So we had more stouts and porters, but we still had IPAs and other styles of beer. So for those out there listening, it's not heavy IPA, it's not heavy stout. We try to create a really interesting selection of beers, which we do in all of our experiences. And that one, we saw 91 people show up. 91.
Wow.
And it was a blast. So if you can imagine, 5 train cars, a 3-hour train ride. You're going through the Howard Tunnel for all the train fans out there. And we did 10 beers, 5 up and 5 back. And everybody had a blast. It was a lot of fun. So we now do one a quarter. So the next one, is, as you had mentioned already, is coming up on March 19th. And that one, we're hoping to crack 100 on that one. So it's a blast.
And it's called Sips and Shenanigans.
Yes, this one is called Sips and Shenanigans.
And by the way, I'll probably be wearing this hat and these beads.
As well you should.
And after those 10 beers, I might be on the top of the train doing some of my own shenanigans. So yeah, check out Brewery Tours. A lot of stuff going that they do. Not only in York, you've expanded into Hanover.
That's correct, yeah.
And I think it was called originally York County Ale Trail, but you said you've always had the vision that you wanted to become Brewery Tours to expand that operation.
Yeah, the company name is actually Brewery Tours Llc. So when I created the company back on December 29th of 2017, having a beer, of course. It was over at our friends at the Revival Social Club. And with a notebook, sitting down going, what is this thing going to look like?
Yeah.
And the company name was Brewery Tours. It was always Brewery Tours because I knew it was going to be something bigger than just York County. But if you're going to start it anywhere, you're going to start it where your friends and family are, right? Because you want to have all that support. Plus, it didn't hurt the volume of breweries that were here in York County. York County is really special with the amount of breweries that are happening here. But I knew that if this was going to succeed, it had to be greater than just York County. So we originally launched as the York County Ale Trail, so everybody knew us as the York County Ale Trail. We did a rebrand at the end of this past year going into this year that our name is now Brewery Tours. So Brewery Tours is the umbrella under which the York County Ale Trail exists, under which our new Hanover Brewery Tours exist, our virtual tours exist, and so on and so forth. So we have conversations currently happening now with other area counties, because we really, at the end of the day, we want to encompass all of central Pennsylvania, because central Pennsylvania is just an incredible scene that I think can compete nationally with anybody.
And that's kind of when I had this idea about what this is. I already had a name in mind, a Central PA Pour. I had that name, and I think when I reached out to you, and you're like, did you have it? I'm like, yeah, but I'm not giving you my idea yet. But I sat down with these guys, and it was just an idea. And we decided, okay, well, let's go forward. But we had no clue what we were doing. We kind of tinkered around looking at information, trying to figure it out. But like you said, Central Pennsylvania's got, and we're including like 5 or 6 counties in that area. There's so many breweries coming in, and they're coming up. There's 3 or 4, and we have a new brewery segment that Ben started on just this area.
Yeah.
And the one guy I talked to, he said, why are you just limiting yourself? Well, I kind of find out why he said that. So if we're doing a focus on like Mudhook, they don't have distribution.
No.
We have to go get the beer if we want to focus on their beer. So that's the only downside to limiting yourself to what we're doing. But I think I still want to concentrate on this area and just make, not just about beer, distilleries, there's wineries, there's
Right.
cideries. There's all kind of stuff we can be featuring in this area and make it a tourist, people to come here, make it a destination for a tourism, like you said.
Yeah.
The economic tourism, it's what it drives this industry.
You're spot on. So, if you take a look at, I limit it to the 5 counties in south central Pennsylvania. So you got Adams, Cumberland, Dauphin, Lancaster, and York. Interestingly enough, it all goes alphabetically all the way around. I don't. Somebody planned that. I don't know who.
Wow.
But if
You researched that to make sure you were right?
absolutely.
I see it on the map
So
there.
within that 5-county region, we have over 90 breweries within a 1-hour radius. So you take a look at some of your national destinations in the country, and I'll use Asheville, for example. So Asheville is actually 4 counties. It's a 4-county region that Asheville is in, so it's just not Asheville, North Carolina. And they've got about 65 breweries. So, as I mentioned earlier, we can compete with Asheville. We can compete with Portland. We can compete with Fort Collins. We're not doing it. We will be, because we're going to do it.
You're going to make it known, and by the
Yeah.
virtual tours, it's getting the word out.
Absolutely. It's quite amazing when all of a sudden you've got people from California that are going, we want to experience what Pennsylvania's happening without flying out here, which I can appreciate. Gas being what it is today.
How about international? You have international?
We haven't yet. We haven't got anything like that. Although it's interesting because we do get a fair amount of followers from England, which I think maybe they're confusing us with York over in England, but
York.
But I'll take them nonetheless.
Yeah. So Ben, you said we were international.
Yeah, that might have been on our Boo Boo episode.
That was on our Boo Boo episode.
But yeah.
Oh, I like the sound of a boo episode.
on Anchor, they give you some pretty decent metrics as far as your viewership and so on. And we cracked 1% in Norway.
Norway.
That was with
Get
our
out.
first 5 episodes. So hey, if you're listening from Norway, give us a shout.
We love you.
We love. Maybe Glenn will hook you up here with a beer package, or I don't know.
I've been to Norway. It's a great place.
Oh hell,
Yeah.
Still hand deliver it. That sounds like
the deer meat's fantastic. The goat cheese, not so much. But yeah, goat cheese.
oh man.
Well, they definitely took all the medals in the Winter Olympics this past year. So we got a lot of things. I mean, March is coming up. Of course, we had snow. Everybody's getting anxious to get out, get the warmer temperatures. If these places have beer gardens, and I think that's what our last episode we had talked to Brooks.
Yeah.
That's kind of what he's limited on as far as space, what he can do. But these beer gardens are going to be opening up. We were kind of just talking about gift tours.
Yeah.
Getting revitalized, and they have that nice area there. So this is just nice. So as far as your history goes, you said history's number 2. Did you go to school for history? Where did you find all this history? Do you like to read? Well, you got to like to read. You're an attorney.
It's a have to.
It's a have to read.
Yeah. I've always been fascinated by history. Always. My undergraduate degree is actually art history.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Nobody told me I couldn't make any money doing that. So, so it looks
And
like
here you are walking around York, telling me things about York I had no freaking clue about.
Yeah.
it's amazing because we have, since we've been doing this tour, as I mentioned, I came to York in 2001, and frequently we get people that have been born and raised here in York and never left. And when they go on our tours, at the end of the day, they go, "Wow, I never knew that."
That's me.
Because I love this town. This is my town. But we do a god-awful job of promoting what is great about this town. And there are so many wonderful things about this town.
Yeah, I think what you told me, and I mean, I knew about the first Capitol, the Continental Congress coming here, blah, blah, blah. But when you were standing in the middle of the square,
Yes.
George Street Market Center, Horatio Gates had a house directly underneath where I'm standing. I was like, oh shit.
That was the Continental
the
Courthouse.
Continental
Oh, that was the courthouse.
That was the courthouse.
See, he didn't pay attention. I was going to correct
Apparently
him.
not.
I was going to correct him.
Because Gates' house is over by the Plow Tavern.
Okay. All right. So I wasn't paying attention too well. Maybe it was because I had too many beers.
It might have been our second stop.
It might have been the second stop. But no, it was like, I knew about whereabouts this stuff was, but when you said it's directly underneath the square, and I'm like, shit, never knew that, and I lived here all my life.
York's an amazing place. When you go from the founding of our country,
Mhm.
you go to the role we played in the Civil War, what we did in World War II with the York Plan, the manufacturing, all of the things that have happened in this town.
Yeah.
It's really an amazing place, and we don't talk about it.
No, Central Pennsylvania, it's been around forever. And like you just said, they have had so many in just this area, Gettysburg. Just think about this whole area.
Yeah.
And include Maryland. I mean, this whole area before D.C. was around, this was where it was at.
Mm-hmm.
This is one of the original areas. So there's a lot of history here. So I'm hoping this becomes more of a destination. And we've talked about some of these, like breweries in PA. You're posting a lot on Craft Beer Lovers of Central PA.
Yep.
There's posts in there all the time. Hey, I'm coming through this area. What do you guys recommend? And within minutes, there's hundreds of recommendations.
Yeah, dozens and dozens. Yeah.
This. So I think it's just cool. So what else you got planned for? Any expansion things going on for Brewery Tours?
Yeah, so we're currently having conversation with Gettysburg, because we certainly want to open up tours in Gettysburg. They have some really great breweries that are happening over there. I think after that, we're looking at the other counties that I had mentioned, so that 5-county region that is in central Pennsylvania. But ultimately, we've got other things that we want to do, and I'm going to hold some of my cards back at this point.
Don't review anything yet.
Because somebody else will do it before I will. But
kind of like with the name when I mentioned this, I'm like, I ain't giving him my name.
But yeah, it's the concept of craft beer tourism. It's out there, and your bigger cities have been taking advantage of that for some time, and rightfully so. The Portlands, the Fort Collins, the Asheville's, those sorts of places. But Pennsylvania, they haven't really gotten on board with that yet.
No.
And I haven't understood why, and I guess at the end of the day, it really doesn't matter why. Because much like how Brewery Tours started, is nobody was doing it, and I got tired of talking about it and said, screw it, I'm just going to do it myself. I see this being the exact same thing for Pennsylvania.
It's either shit or get off the pot.
Yeah.
That's exactly right.
There's a couple of things that you'd mentioned, and I'm seeing it now that I'm traveling more. It's either those communities, that Bethlehem.
Yeah.
It fell apart as soon as Bethlehem Priest, steel company went down.
That's right.
And what do you do to rebuild? Our hometown in central New York, same thing. Businesses went out. So you got to turn it into a historical thing, something. And then all these, craft breweries are coming in and helping out more than what people realize.
That's absolutely right.
And it's bringing people in from all over. Like you said, social media. Where do I go to visit this place?
Yeah.
Never heard of that little town.
It's interesting because, if you talk to the brewers, and I know you guys do, but there's still a lot of pushback.
Absolutely.
This is my opinion, that there's still this correlation between brewers and bars. So when, a new brewery wants to come in and they want to get this space, and typically they're coming into buildings to revitalize buildings. They're just not taking, the corner spot. And a lot of communities are still pushing back on them because they say, it's going to be a bar thing, right? There's going to be drunk people and all this bit. And we all know, you go to the breweries, we don't go to the breweries to get drunk. We go there to experience the beer and enjoy the beer.
That was the 50s and 60s.
Yeah.
Nowadays it's iPads, families.
That's right. And that's the amazing thing, because, when you take a look at the craft beer scene around the country, I don't know if we've hit the number yet, but we're pretty darn close to eclipsing 9,000 breweries.
Wow.
In this country, which is an amazing number, right?
Wow.
9,000. And people always ask us on the tours is, when's it going to stop? When's the bubble going to burst? All these things. And I go back to 2020, when we had the complete shutdown in our country.
Yeah.
There were more breweries that opened in 20 than closed.
Yes.
We heard that.
And the reason that is our breweries are social hubs. This is where communities get together. You had mentioned this is where families go to have dinner and play some board games.
Yeah.
This is where business meetings happen.
Yeah.
This is a community hub. It's not a bar.
Yeah.
Yeah. Go ahead.
It's weird for me because I don't consider myself old at 50 couple,
You're absolutely not, by the way.
But I don't like to use the word millennial because it'll upset the boy here. But no,
Very emotional I am.
Yeah, right. But you know, the games and the breweries, you know, you don't see that. You don't see somebody's family of four playing Monopoly while drinking a beer and having a glass of milk, or, you know, whatever it may be.
Yeah.
And it's such a good feeling. It really is.
And not only that, these places are becoming more of a food destination too. They're bringing in some very good chefs. They're putting out some awesome meals.
Whether it's outside coming in on
and it is a destination. And we had brought this up in one of the episodes. We might have been with Brooks Haymauer. When I grew up, you went to the bar.
Yeah.
And sometimes you didn't want to go there because of what you had mentioned. There could be fights, drunks, blah, blah, blah. That whole image has changed. And these are not bars. And I think that's what people need to get over is it's not a bar. It's economic growth. And like Brooks put it, we're the ones putting back into the community. We're supporting the Girl Scouts. We're supporting the churches. We're supporting everything around the locals. And it's like, you have an independent business. I got an independent business. We're the ones supporting back into the community. So support local, no matter what it is.
That's absolutely right. Support local, drink local. Yeah. Our brewers are giving back to the community. They're involved in our community.
Right.
More than I realize. I mean, just the last episode, you know, doing yoga in the shop for free, and
Big Boot Society.
Amazing.
Yeah. And that was the other thing I was going to bring up is this whole industry. You had mentioned about the pandemic. You know, my business was deemed essential. I'm an automotive repair. Bullshit. Everybody's essential. However, the entertainment, the food, and that industry got hit the hardest.
Absolutely.
And there's been a lot that haven't survived it. But the way you guys, and even your business, came up with a creative way to survive an unknown territory that none of us have ever been through before. I think that's what stands about this industry and others that are similar.
Mm-hmm.
How you can come up with creative ideas, marketing ideas to still sustain a business and survive something none of us have ever been through.
No, I appreciate that. Yeah, it's you got to adapt or overcome, right? Sink or swim.
Yeah.
And those that don't, well,
you know, none of us knew what 2020 when that word came down that everything's getting shut down.
yeah.
I'm sitting there in my automotive business. I had a call from a fellow shop owner and said, "What are you going to do?" I'm like, "What do you mean?" He said, "Well, the governor just shut everything down." I'm like, "My door's staying open until they come and shut me down." And it wound up being one of our best years because people weren't driving to work. They didn't have to go to work. They worked from home. They had the means, and they also they brought their car in for their repair, and we give them recommendations. You gotta look at, most of the time it's okay, let's do to this, we'll worry about that. That year, everybody's like, I don't need it, take it, get it done. I had a great year. And we didn't know what was going to happen. And I think Brooks had said, and there were some other ones you had mentioned, opened during the pandemic.
That's right.
And still survived. That's saying a lot about the entrepreneurs that we have coming up in this industry.
Brooks was one of them. Our friends over at Sign of the Horse was another. You know, there were a number of breweries, and it's just by timing. You know, it's just the way it happened. Nobody knew, right? But the vast majority of them have survived. This pandemic, and they're stronger for it.
And I'm hoping we're near the end of it. You don't hear much about it, so I'm hoping this summer, spring kind of waves its side and we can be done with it.
Yeah, if you take a look at the numbers, and I'm very involved in the tourism industry as well. I'm on the board of Explore York, for example, and the numbers that we're seeing, it would seem that tourism is returning. It's not 100% back yet, but the numbers seem to indicate that we're getting back to it.
Yeah.
So fingers crossed.
Look at the rail trail.
Yeah.
Doing a beautiful job with that.
Yep.
I ran from downtown to Maryland.
That's another hidden gem. You know, that is just an amazing asset for this community.
You know, I'll run to the end of the driveway. Speaking of, you guys ready to do another beer?
Long time ago.
Well, Brent's running to the end of the driveway. I run into the beer distributor.
All right, so hey, this is from Desperate Times out of Carlisle. This is their Irish Red 2022, their red ale. It's 5.4% ABV. It's got 25 IBU. The description is moderate malt character with an initial malt sweetness and a hint of roasted dryness in the finish. The flavor profile is going to have some vanilla, sweet and dark. It only has 15 untapped ratings, probably because it's their 2022 release. But yet, the version 2021 had 111 with an average rating of 3.72. So this is from Desperate Time from Carlisle. I've been up there several times. I kind of like some of their beers. Their Schwartz beer is pretty good. I like their Schwartz beer.
People don't make enough Schwartz beers.
No. It's funny, you keep the glass down here and the SRM rating is 15. You bring it up into the light and it darkens right up.
A little bit sweeter than the last.
It is, yeah.
I'm going to say like a 17, 18 on this one. Of course, we've argued about my coloring as far as me judging colors.
Chrissy helps me get dressed in the morning.
Those shoes don't match those pants.
Every day.
If you stay with blacks and grays, you're safe.
Yeah.
We pack our suitcase that way. Honey.
Oh, my latest thing is getting our daughter dressed in the morning, and my wife Caitlin will rate my outfit I picked out for her. Some days it's good, some days it's like, you think she really cares?
No pressure.
14 months old.
Hey, 16 pops, come on.
Keep that already.
Yeah, I know, right? You tell me.
This is really good.
It's got a smoothness to it, and I do get a little bit of that sweetness that they were talking about.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I suspect that's got to do with the grain bill in this.
Yeah,
it's like I don't know what they. This is the first time I'm having this one, so I'm gonna guess we probably got a little Vienna malt in here that's giving a little bit more of sweetness.
Holy moly, you came prepared, Glenn.
Well, like I said, we're amateurs. We're bringing in professionals as far as our guests go. Put us on to shame. I do like it.
I really do too, as well.
I'm gonna give it another 4 because we're up my alley. I mean, the darker beers. I mean, we're more lagers, ales, and that kind of stuff.
I'm a nitro man all the way.
Oh man, nitros. That's pretty good. I like that.
Yeah, it's a solid beer.
It's good.
Absolutely solid beer. It's a nice comparison between that one and the one from Mudhook as well. So it's a slight different variation.
Difference, yes.
Mm-hmm.
This is a little bit more sweeter notes in it, a little bit maltier sweetness to it.
Yeah.
I don't get the vanilla that they're bringing in. I don't get any vanilla.
Well, that might be more of the sweetness that you're getting. Right? It's you're picking up sweet versus the vanilla flavor.
I get the vanilla. Definitely at the end.
Yeah.
Is it pour me enough? I'll have to go back and get some.
But this is the interesting thing to me. So we've got all of these breweries, and they're all basically using the same ingredients, right? But yet they can all come up with something unique. It's not like I go to Brewery A and I have the IPA, and I go to Brewery B and I have the IPA and go, it's pretty much the same stuff. Everybody's able to put their own spin on things.
And that's we've talked about this several times.
We're finding that out when we make the homebrew.
Yeah.
Hey, add this to it. And then the next day, what the hell did you do that for? Taste.
Experimentation.
Yeah, exactly right.
Yep. So the last home brew I did was a Kolsch. And it was a kit. We're still kit brewers. We're not all grain or any of that. And I think my next step may be pushing that way, but we're still got to figure the kits out first. But I brought this kit, Kolsch, and I wanted to do a raspberry flavor to it. Well, I think I gave it to Tim Marsh from Stony Brook, and he said, well, Kolsch is out the window. I'm like, yeah, that went out the window because it's dark, and all you're getting is the raspberry flavor.
It's like Kolsch is not an easy style to start with.
And I don't know what happened. I fucked up. Just plain and simple.
That's okay.
So I kind of like that. So, like Ben said earlier, follow us on Untapped. Glenn, are you on Untapped?
Not yet.
Not yet. What the hell?
We're actually we just started a conversation with Untapped to get Brewery Tours on there.
That'd be awesome.
Yeah, so we got some promotions that are going to be coming up. So
cool.
Stay tuned.
Free beer for the podcast members.
Maybe. Yeah.
So, we had mentioned about all these breweries coming up, and Ben wanted to bring in this new idea about new brewery segments. So, Ben, do you have one for us this time?
Yeah, I got one for you, and I'm actually going to start it off with a follow-up from last episode about the tragedy that happened at Whiskers Brewing in Newville and the fire that happened there. I believe that the owners there mentioned that they do plan on rebuilding the facilities there. So good on them. Keep them in your thoughts as they continue to do that, as they were days, weeks away from
And
opening doors.
I just found out my wife actually went to school with them.
Oh yeah, okay.
Yeah, so she knows them. So best of luck to them. I'm hoping they can rebuild.
Yeah, I saw that, and I hope they saw. I sent them a message, if they're watching or somebody who knows. So I had mentioned that they need to, if they haven't already, spoken to Brad over at Sign of the Horse.
Yeah.
So, Sign of the Horse had a very similar situation. Not only did they have the bad timing of opening up right at the beginning of COVID, within months the brewery burnt down. Yeah. So they had that double whammy, and they were able to work with a number of other breweries to help them, and they were able to rebuild, and now they're doing a fine job.
Yeah.
So it's been done before. And I certainly encourage that collaboration there between Whiskers and Sign of the Horse.
I think Brooks Ameyer said he reached out to them as well to help with distribution.
That's just another note on how awesome this industry is. And how everybody's collaborating, and whether it's unfortunate situations like this or whatever the situation may be.
Yes, it's a tragedy, but it's a blessing too, because like you said, what is he going to learn from that?
Mm-hmm.
Is it going to make him a better all-around person?
Knocked him down, but I don't think it knocked him out.
No, absolutely not.
It's just a setback.
Yeah,
we're all here to
what
help.
Ben said is point. We've got all of these breweries all over the place, and yes, they're in competition with each other, right? Yeah, they're all fighting over the same dollars, but on any given day, somebody's helping somebody out. I ran out of cans. Can you give me more? I'm short on grain. Can you give me this? I got a problem with my system that I can't quite figure out, and they're giving them tips on how to do it. They're in competition, but they're all in the exact same boat, and they're all helping each other out.
Yeah, it's a great community.
It's an amazing industry.
The gentleman from Stony Run, same thing. Do you collaborate locally? Well, no, we never really thought about it, but we try to expand out so we can learn, bring their ideas in here, bring ours out there. But absolutely, we share the grains, we do this, we do that.
Yeah.
So actually, yes, behind the scenes, we do collaborate,
Yeah.
All right, so back to the new brewery segment. Today's episode, we have Michaud Brewing in Waynesboro set to open up this summer.
Oh.
So we have an outdoorsy couple that just love Central PA, love the region, and they have revamped a 1946 log cabin, and they're going to have a small pub menu available as well. So again, that's Michaud Brewing, set to open up this summer. So keep that on your radar and give them a visit when they open their doors.
Yeah, check it out.
Where are they going to be?
Waynesboro.
Yeah, so it's the Michaud State Forest area. So
Is that out by Pittsburgh?
no,
Shippensburg area?
it's
Shippensburg.
Shippensburg area, south of Shippensburg area. I think it is.
Cool.
So it's a little farther out on the other side of Gettysburg, but it's out there.
It's all good.
Maybe a little bit south of Chambersburg or a little west of Chambersburg. So yeah, keep an eye out for them. And I know there's other breweries coming in this area. They're popping up all over.
Absolutely.
Shit, we've talked about buying the building down the street. I keep bringing it up.
Not an episode goes by.
I'm waiting for Kevin to make his million to buy it, so we can start opening Essex Brewworks. So
I'm going to go brew.
So Glenn, we have here that you were named one of the best local tourist attractions in 2021.
We were. Yes.
Now, do you know when that voting will be available for 2022?
The nomination
window?
process is right now.
Awesome. Really? Okay.
Yeah, so if you go to YDR,
Okay.
you can nominate us, and I think they take like either the top 5 or the top 10 for that. You can vote every single day.
Every single day.
Every single day, yes.
hit it up.
So please, other than myself, Chrissy, and my mother voting for me every single day.
Hey, I've done it.
You can do it too.
I've done it. I voted.
I will say we came in second last year, and I'll give you a guess. Who came in first? This is so York County. So York County.
Farmer tour or something. I don't even.
Got to be New York Fair.
It was the goddamn shoe house.
Are you serious?
Right?
Because everybody knows the shoe house. And that's down towards Helm.
Stop doing their 5 miles.
So we are going to put our shoe up the shoe house's.
There you
There you go.
So get out there and give
So,
Brewery Tours a
It's dropped. All right.
the mic drop.
We're coming for you. All right.
So that's pretty cool.
Give them a vote. You can tell how passionate Glenn is.
Yeah, he loves this, and
Yeah.
that's what I think is unique. Is when Kevin and I did that tour, I could feel it and hear it in your tone. You love this shit.
I could talk about this for hours. Our tours usually last about 3.5, 4 hours.
Yeah.
If I didn't have to go home and be in trouble for being home so late, it would be like 10 hours.
I don't know if it's good or bad or whatever. It doesn't matter. But our wives were with us, and we sent them off while we were on the
That's
tour.
right. I forgot about that.
And it's like one of those things. Come bail us out if it's no good. And we're like, no, get the hell out. We're having a good time.
They picked us up when we were heading to Collusion.
That's right. Yeah.
So I think it's great. I mean, you guys got to make sure you get out there, do the walking tour. If you can't do a walking tour, do the bus tour. How many guides do you have?
We've got currently four, and we are actually looking for more.
Okay.
So if you love beer, and I don't mean just sitting around on the sofa drinking it, it's if you're a home brewer, if you've been in the industry, if you want to learn more about beer, because I certainly teach and educate our beer guides on things, as we are certainly looking, and obviously some people skills will be helpful as well.
Oh, you got to have people skills.
Yeah.
I don't know if I have that.
I think you'd be great.
I can lie. Although my knowledge, my history, I love the Civil War area. And I always thought, well, I could go up there and be a guide up there. But I don't know. It's too much work.
It's a lot of fun, because we talk about the Civil War on the walking tour in New York City. We talk about the Civil War on the Hanover tour.
We have to,
because there's the history in Central PA is so rich, and for whatever reason, most people don't know about it.
Yeah, my wife's from Carlisle, and the courthouse up there still has the cannonball hits.
That's right. Yeah,
So is your brewery tours going to expand to that area as well?
absolutely.
Because Carlisle's got some great breweries.
They have a fantastic collection over there.
And my wife will go downtown. She goes, "This just ain't like Carlisle." I'm like, "Shut up. This is York."
Yeah.
So I said, "You lived in a bubble."
Yeah. So like we had for our virtual tour last night, one of the breweries that was featured on that was Molly Pitcher.
Molly Pitcher.
Yeah, which is a great little brewery down on High Street.
And that's got a lot of history behind the name.
Absolutely. So, we spent a fair amount of time talking about Molly Pitcher.
Yeah.
So if you ever want to learn about Molly Pitcher,
Check out Brewery Tours.
there you go.
Yeah, give them a like. The one thing I did see on your website, there's a show called Something's Brewing.
Yeah.
What's that about?
So that has been our fledgling podcast, and I don't know if it is going to continue or not.
Okay.
'Cause much like what you guys are doing, there are so many people out there doing it right now that I think we need to focus a little bit more on what our wheelhouse is, because you guys are doing a great job.
Yeah.
You guys are doing fantastic.
Thank
So I'm very pleased to be here today. And we originally started doing it because nobody else was doing it.
And that's kind of where. So I saw, and that's kind of why I reached out to you first, because I saw that. And I'm like, he might be one to kind of run this idea by you. They're doing something like that. Plus, I've watched that show, What's Brewing, from the guys from Montgomery County.
Absolutely. Yeah.
I'm like, well, shit, why couldn't we do that?
Yeah.
And so we took our monthly beer drinking with my idea, and here we are.
So it's all yours, please.
So
I have limited hours.
and so do we. But this has been kind of fun, and I'm glad we were able to finally get you here. Like I said, you were one of the first people I reached out to, and I was actually shocked you replied. But what's nice about this is I'm reaching out to get these guests, and all I'm doing is making contact, and they are more than willing to stop in. And we're just small. We're amateurs. We're just growing. But I think what we're doing is we're featuring you guys.
Well, here's the thing about it is, and this was true when we talked on the tour that you had come on. The passion was clear, right?
Yeah.
So it wasn't like you're blowing smoke at my ass, or anything like that. It's like, okay, these guys are genuinely interested in this. So when you reach out to the brewers and the other people in the industry, they know pretty quick whether you're just trying to monetize something, or if, wow, this is something you're really passionate about, and it shows.
Yeah.
So,
It was funny because we just visited a place and he gave us a brew on the house. And I feel bad, so I made sure that tip covered that.
Yeah.
Everybody has to earn their keep.
That's right.
And to me, it's about friendship. I just said this before we started. I said, you know what? I was so relaxed that night talking. We talked about, different things and whatever. It was just relaxed. We came home. We're talking about it again.
Yeah.
Like your tour, we're talking, we have a campfire out back. Your tour comes up every time. Every time.
Fantastic.
So yeah,
You should be videoing those campfires, by the way.
Yeah. So Jeff, it's not on your tab at Mudhook. Jeff gave us this for the podcast.
Yeah.
All right. Good. All right. I was going to say, him and I are having a conversation.
He said your tab's large enough.
Yeah,
So
like Brett said, everybody that we have approached has been more than welcoming. So Glenn, we can't thank you enough for your time today. And it's just, at first I had this feeling like I'm walking into this brewery or beer distributor, sliding them a sticker, as you can see there, slide them a sticker, be like, hey, check out our show.
Have they seen this yet? These are awesome. Yeah.
And right away everybody's like, yeah, sure, we'd love to come on, and it's open arms to everybody. It goes back to the collaboration, the open environment, and
It's a very inviting community.
absolutely.
Yeah.
And we couldn't be more thankful.
It's easy. All the beer is good.
Yeah, we haven't really encountered too many bad beers.
No.
It happens.
We've had some on our monthly tastings that were just weren't us. Now they're not us. Doesn't mean they're hateful.
Right.
We just didn't like it.
Yeah.
I often say they can't all be home runs.
No.
Right.
And that's okay.
Yeah, it is okay.
And like you said, they're using traditional styles, but they're making it their own.
Yeah.
And that's what's unique. And I think we had talked about this maybe just openly with somebody else. If you go to Europe, this craft beer is not there because they stick to the traditional style. They don't veer off of that too far.
Are you going to give me an opportunity to actually say one of my favorite words?
No, you go right ahead.
Right, Heisgeball.
Well, I can tell you one thing. It sounded a lot better than when I tried the Irish say Happy St. Patrick's Day.
Oh man, we sliding on to beer number 3, gentlemen.
Yeah, let's do beer number 3.
Boy, this one has an inside joke or tongue twister. We're going to get into it here.
We're going to get into it. I couldn't figure it out until Ben kind of told me.
All right, so this is from Big Bottom Brewery in Dillsburg.
Hey, Bob.
The name here is listed as Whale Oil Beef Hooked, and it is an Irish red ale, clocking in at 4.7 ABV with a 21 IBU.
So I'm not good at this Mad Gab stuff. Until Ben came here today and brought it in, he said,
So
I ran it through my head 100 times. I couldn't do it.
So I don't know, Brett, was this your description or was this theirs that they had?
This was what was on their description.
So their description says, say it to yourself a few times, you'll get it. So I have one of two things here, guys. You tell me which one sounds better. My accent is not.
Let's see if Glenn can figure it out.
Okay, so I'm going to say I think I got the first part of it. So it's well oiled instead of whale oil. It's well oil.
See, that's not where I was heading.
No? All right.
Go ahead. No, keep going.
No, yeah, continue. I'm sorry. We're just different minds here.
Oh, I got it already.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I'll be fucked.
There you go. Yeah.
I didn't get that.
Until he said it, so I'm not good at the Mad Gab
Yeah.
games.
So you got to say it with an Irish accent.
And that was all. That was missing. Well, I'll be fucked.
So
That's clever. That's good.
it is pretty good. And when I sent Ben, because he was going to try to get some other ones, and I said, well, Big Bottom has this red Irish ale, and he said, I'm going to get that because the name is intriguing.
Now, this one has 31 ratings on Untapped 31 check-ins on Untapped with an average of 3.88.
What does that taste?
And I don't know if this is because of the temperature, which we've gotten into a few times, the drinking beers at the different temperatures and such, but this one has quite a different taste.
It's different. It's
what is
different
that?
maltiness to it than the other two.
Almost a spice, maybe.
I can almost taste that pine now. No?
Glenn might hit us with the descriptions and the. Please do, by the way.
Yeah, there's. I'd be curious, because I know we don't have it here in front of us, what the hop profile is on this.
Yeah.
This is not a traditional Irish red, and I don't say that in a negative way.
No,
It's
different.
I'm enjoying it.
Yeah, me too.
But,
Absolutely.
Yeah, but there is I suspect it's the hop profile on there, because initially there was a spice note on there, and I'm like, whenever I get that initial spice note,
Yeah.
I immediately think rye. Okay, did they throw some rye in there? But I don't think it's rye. I think it's the hops that they're using in it.
Yeah, and I think the hops are overtaking the malts. I don't get the malty sweetness that you should have in Irish red. It's not bad.
No.
I'm going to be like a 3.5. And it's a little lighter on the scale. I'm going to probably say like a 13.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's unique. Definitely.
Yeah.
It's different, and that's kind of what we talked about. Everybody does something a little different. You can't have the same beer going bar to bar. What's the difference?
And that's kind of neat. We've had 3 Irish Reds here so far, right?
Yeah.
And all 3 of them have been dramatically different.
And they're all decent.
Yeah.
They're all very drinkable beers. So I could drink this, but I'm not going to give it as high as the other 2 Irish Reds, because to me they're more towards a traditional Irish red.
Yeah.
This is good. It's unique.
So if you haven't, I know you guys have, but if you haven't been over to Big Bottom, they're kind of out of the way, and it's not, the advantages being whether you're in downtown York or some of the other areas that are a little bit more commutable. Big Bottom to me has always been one of those out of the way places that, hey, have you been there? No, I haven't. I kind of wanted to get there because they're up in Dillsburg, right?
In Dillsburg off 15, you got to get off the exit and then off the road, and you got to kind of scoot around that little area.
Yeah, it's to the west of 15, up over there. But it's certainly worthwhile going.
Because it's a sister location to Al's of Hamden, which is Pizza Boy.
That's right, yeah. So it's a great place. Good food.
Good food.
Great bar list. So they've got their local brews, and they also carry a fair amount of other sponsored sponsored taps as well.
We had mentioned that about some of the tap takeovers that happened, and I went up there before our episode for Valentine's for the sours. I went up there because they were having a tap takeover. Actually, it was right after, because Rotunda was going to be one of them.
Oh, cool.
So I went up there Thursday night, my wife and I, and what he did, now I missed the tap takeover, it was supposed to be the next day. But what the owner did, he went out to the other breweries and brought them in to feature them.
Yeah, Bob, the owner over there, he's a great guy. He's another one of these people that are just really, really passionate about this industry, and he's a really good asset to the beer community.
So I think it's the community itself. They all try and help each other. Breweries in PA features a lot of news about this industry statewide. A lot of tap takeovers. And speaking of it, I think there's one coming up in April. Philly's going to invade Pittsburgh.
I was just going to say that.
I saw that. Yeah.
At Necromancer. So that ought to be interesting. I don't know if it's a hostile takeover because it's Philly and Pittsburgh. I don't know, but that's probably not. I know Shy Bear does a lot of stuff.
We're not getting into sports, right?
No, we're not getting into sports. I know Shy Bear does a bunch of stuff with a lot of breweries. And with this thing going on over in the Eastern European area, the Russian invasion of Ukraine, there are several breweries in this area that are doing different things. I know Tattered Flag, which is a veteran-owned brewery, they are collecting goods to support a former employee who actually left there a couple years ago to move back to her Ukrainian country. And they are in constant contact, and you can go out to Tattered Flags and see what items they're looking for to ship over there. So, by all means.
Yeah, the basics. Toothpaste, soaps, things like that.
Support those people because it's not their choice.
I thought I also saw there is a much familiar to like what Sierra Nevada had done with the wildfires in California.
Yeah.
There's a beer recipe that is being circulated around the breweries for, I want to say it was a Czech Pilsner. I could be wrong on the style, but the money's for that to be donated back over to the Ukraine.
Yeah.
Good. Awesome.
I mean, I know Shy Bears, they're releasing a Cause for Concern can to support the Ukrainian people. So it comes all back to the community of these brewers. And that's what is so unique about it. And kind of why this idea of us is like, why can't we do this? Why can't we get involved and help promote what you guys are doing? So that's kind of why when we got comfortable doing this initially, we wanted to bring guests in and mainly feature you guys. It's not about us, it's about you.
High tide rises all boats. Period.
Yep.
It's as simple as that. So it's not you versus me. It's we.
We.
Yeah.
It's a team.
Mhm.
Team effort.
So I'm going to start out with I'm probably the most uneducated when it comes to this. So
That nice caveat.
yeah. So I mentioned nitro earlier. Can you put nitro in any of the styles, or is it always? Because it always seems to be the stout style.
You can put it in anything. I've had nitro with IPAs before.
Have you?
Yeah.
Oh boy, maybe that would help me out.
I know Ben's eyes just lit up because you talk about an IPA and you put it on nitro. Brooks mentioned that for his St. Patty's Day they were doing his Red Irish, his McFadden, on nitro.
Really? I didn't catch that on the thing, and I missed it. I'm sorry, Brooks. The second one, The Life of Traveling.
So,
he
but
died
yeah,
one-
traditionally you see it with the stouts, right? And, it's the whole Guinness thing. Yeah.
Yeah, that's basically where it is. So, guys, you got anything else?
No, I'm just having a good time. It's
We got a fourth beer.
We do have a fourth beer. That is our cheers beer.
Oh,
So, Glenn, again,
keep it real.
we appreciate you taking the time out of your schedule to come sit here in the Essex Home Brew Works brew room, soon to be brew room. It's been great. We loved having you here. Tell us again where they can find you. How can they get a hold of you? Do you got any future events coming up that people should look for?
By all means. So you can find us on our website, which is ultimatecraftbeerexperience.com.
Mhm.
You can find us on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, LinkedIn, Google, any of those places, whether you're finding us under Brewery Tours or you're finding us under Ultimate Craft Beer Experience. As far as our tours go, our walking and brew tours run every single weekend out of the year. Charters are available as well, whether you want to have a birthday party, a family reunion, an anniversary, bachelorette parties, employee, and customer appreciation events, any of that stuff. We're all about education. So, I always like to emphasize to people that we're not drunk buses and we're not pub crawls. You're going to have your fair share of beer along the way, don't get me wrong, but you are going to learn about beer. Whether you're a novice, an expert, or somewhere in between, we're going to teach you something about beer.
I can vouch for that. And next week I might have to do a little live shoot with my phone
That'd be awesome.
while I'm on the Sips and Shenanigans Ale Trails. So
That's going to be a blast.
I'm looking forward to it. I was kind of upset I didn't get to do the January one, but I'm looking forward to this one. So, guys,
Brett, as this can right here says, drink responsibly.
drink responsibly.
That's right. Yeah, that's right.
There's been quite a few times that I have not drunk responsibly. Ben, any last words?
I'm good, man. Thank you very much for your time, Ben.
Gentlemen,
This has been
I've
awesome.
appreciated it. Thank you.
It's unique. It's new for us as well because we've had 7 episodes.
You guys are doing great. You guys are doing fantastic.
Thank you.
Well, thank you.
So yeah, you have a background in this, so we'll take any kind of hints that you have to make this better.
Be real, be authentic, and it's exactly what I'm feeling right now.
Yep. So we are. So like I said, Dave was not here with us today. He is our 4th member of the CPP. So him and his wife were celebrating their anniversary. So we are going to use our cheers beer for this. And this is from Lydian Stone, right, Ben? You went to get this out of York Haven?
Yes, that's correct.
It is an Irish dry stout with a 41 rating and a 3.81. So if you want to find out what we rate this at, look us up on Tap. Follow us on @CentralPAPour. Email us. Let us know what you guys think. If you find something out there you want us to do, sample, go out there. Make sure you go visit Brewery Tours
Please.
and see Glenn. You will get an education. You're going to have a hell of a good time. And this is going out to Dave and his wife Sandy on their 45th anniversary. Happy St. Patrick's Day, because good Lord, I'm not going to say it again in Irish. But Sláinte.
Happy anniversary, Dave.
Cheers.
We love you, buddy.
Cheers.
Cheers.